Alright, there's a remote. So, in this video, I want to just discuss how I do what I do, what I like to play, how I like to do it, and most importantly, how I learn. So, instead of, going textbook over textbook, constantly just filling my brain with information about this instrument which I like to play, I prefer to do it a little more passively, much to my orchestra teacher's dismay. So, what I do is I fuck around and find out. I don't go like, oh, so this is a, I don't know, this is a power chord combined with a, I don't even know enough theory to make a joke. So, I just fuck around and find out. I'll find a pattern, like sweeping arpeggios, which apparently people love. I'll find that pattern, figure out what sounds good, where I can work it in. And especially with that pattern, doing the inverse of it instead of I do just a little more metal. Yeah. Figuring out which ones make more sense for different areas. Neck pickup makes more sense if I'm just figuring out where it makes sense, where I can make it sound good, what songs use it. I just fuck around and find out. And as for other aspects of theory, just yet again, I might not even know about them until I start playing. It's just different forms of power chords, but they all have a completely different sound, despite being comprised of mostly the same notes. And, the best way to figure out what emotion goes with the sound you're trying to achieve is best done using your emotions. You're a human, you know what to appeal to. Yeah, stuff like that. That's very twinkly. Tapping, all that. Once you learn some theory, like, this sounds cheery, this sounds meh, this sounds extended cheery, stuff like that. Being able to apply it into individual notes. You can sort of invoke an emotion with something you barely understand. But you don't need to understand it physically if you understand it psychologically. And that's really as easy as it gets. Once you get the technique down, then all of it is just, translating the emotion through your head onto an instrument in a loop where you feel like, okay, that sounds good. And as you're going along that, maybe you found something in a YouTube video you like. I hate to do this, but something like that. And you start, experimenting with that pattern. Start doing stuff like that, and then you realize, wait, there was an open note in there, and it didn't sound too horrible. It just gave a different emotion I can utilize as a tool. Then you start finding out, oh wait, I don't need to do this shape to make an octave. I can go give it more undertones as you just add more notes. Whether or not it sounds good is up to you, whether or not you can utilize it. You guys might want to see my right hand. Being able to utilize stuff like that, it's something that is purely up to your discretion. You don't need a notebook or... Well, a notebook is good to keep track of these things if you're like me, but I don't do that because I'm not a nerd. But you don't need all these books and all these YouTube theory videos. You just need to feel it out. And having long fingers also helps. And I spend a lot of time practicing sweeping because muting problems. And I also have trouble tapping the 16th note. But then you realize, oh wait, I might not even have to do that. If you can just make up your own patterns. And then you're like, wait, that sounds familiar. I know of songs that don't even have tapped 16th notes, or that don't even have to go, or don't need to be tapped even that high. And you're like, wait, more hammer-ons. And you're like, wait, there, that's the sweeping part to that one song where that really cool fretless bassist plays. Omnipresent perception. See, you just figure this stuff out yourself. You don't need to be taught. And that's where consistency comes in. If you can force yourself to play the bass, eventually it won't be force. Eventually you'll be like, oh shit, I just heard this cool thing in this cool song. I can do that. What a novel idea. And then... and you just start mixing tapping and stuff in. Yeah, I know, I'm not very good at it, but I'm also one of the few people you'll meet who learned how to sweep before you learned how to tap. When I say learned, I'm more like half learned, because hitting with any kind of consistency is pretty difficult, especially if you're like... See, hitting it with any sort of consistency while you're in the middle of a part is where it's by far the most difficult. Yeah. See how much more difficult that is when you're in one rhythm and have to... Yeah, when you're in the middle of one rhythm and have to move to another. It's a lot more difficult to hit it consistently, because especially if you're moving from... It's a pain in the ass. I'm still working in sweeping. It's my favorite technique I've learned. But yeah, it's all, you're human. you're playing a human-made instrument and you're hearing from humans hopefully playing bass. From that you can generate ideas as to what you want to play. And it's easy enough to hear something and go, ooh, I can do that, I can apply it. So fucking do it. No one gives a shit if you sound good or not at first. No one gives a shit if you sound good or not at all. If people do give a shit, then they'll start asking you to join their band. Which I am ashamed to say I've had to turn down because, yet again, I don't know any theory. I do this as a hobby. Find one note that harmonizes. This is what I was doing earlier. Find a note that harmonizes and resonates with other strings. And then use that harmony to create an interesting sound. I don't know if you can hear it on the camera or not, but when I press a different note, it should be interrupting the original one, causing a cool kind of wavy effect. And then from that, I'm developing another skill, understanding root notes better. If you're sticking on this note and you're developing off of it, I'm not that great at that because I'm practicing it. What you probably should be doing too if you're watching this video. Just learning and understanding different techniques and different sounds and what you can make from your own instrument. And most importantly, practice finger mobility exercises. Make sure you're not overdoing it. That's how you get stiffness and all that. So, yeah. Keep that in mind when you play.